have you had conversations with Aaron since leaving Green Bay, and what was that goodbye like?
Oh yeah, I mean we've talked multiple times, and we talked throughout the whole process too. And he was aware of where I stood, and I was aware of where he stood, and we had talks just like what he said the other day. He mentioned we had talks about his future and what he thinks his duration in Green Bay or just football in general would look like, and that played into my decision as well, because where I'm in my career. And this isn't a shot at anybody, any other quarterbacks or in Green Bay. I love Jordan Love especially. He's a great guy, but I got aspirations of doing really, really big things and being remembered. And I just it wasn't really a point in my career that I was willing to sacrifice. Aaron not being there, after a year or two. So my decision was to be here, and he respected that. He understood that. You guys have heard Green Bay offered this, which was higher than what I was, and all of that. And yeah, I'll say it was true. Okay, it was true. But like I said, there's much more that goes into it, and family is a big part of it for me. So geographically being here, it makes it a lot easier for me to stay connected to my family year round. And this isn't year two, or I'm not trying to necessarily fight for a job or anything like that, to where you got to do what you got to do. You got to just stay out there. I had the choice, and the choice was for me to come here and raise my family on the West Coast and come out here and have some fun in the sun.
Davante Adams talking about his decision to push for a trade from the Green Bay Packers to the Las Vegas Raiders. Just another major example of how the NFL is shifting toward a league that teams are finding ways to accommodate players who aren't happy. Instead of saying to Davante Adams, hey, we use the franchise tag on you. You got two choices. Play for us and make the franchise tag money, or play for no one. We're not going to trade you just because you want to be traded. We're starting to see now teams willing to accommodate players and understanding what it means to keep players happy, and how that, and it's the line that Mike Tomlin uses all the time. Chris Ballard invoked it earlier this year as I was trying to get him to explain to me why teams are moving in this direction. We want volunteers, not hostages. And Green Bay decided to get what they could for Davante Adams and let him volunteer for a different team. So not a surprise. And even though he took great pains, Charean, to say that this isn't about Jordan Love, he did say, I'm looking at 1 or 2 more years with Aaron Rodgers, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So maybe that's all that needs to be said about what he thinks of Jordan Love.
That's the biggest thing I took out of what he said, Mike, was the Jordan Love quote. And as much as he tried to downplay, I love Jordan Love, this was about Jordan Love, because he sees the end of Aaron Rodgers' career, and he wants to go somewhere with a quarterback who he knows. Obviously, he knows Derek Carr from college, and that's who he wanted to go back with and play the rest of his career with. And he doesn't think much of Jordan Love, or to me, he would have stayed in Green Bay to spend another year, 2 years, 3 years with Aaron Rodgers, and then go, okay, well, Jordan Love's taken over whenever Aaron leaves, so it's going to be just as good. I really think this was an indictment of Jordan Love, that he doesn't think that much of Jordan Love. That's what I took out of this, Mike, more than anything else.
And this ongoing narrative that the Packers ultimately offered more money than the Raiders did, the 2 points that get overlooked in that regard. Number one, the Packers didn't offer the money until basically they were backed into a corner. If they had put a huge offer on the table November, December, while there was still a little bit of injury risk on Davante Adams, he possibly takes it. He took the first extension from the Packers right at the conclusion of his first contract with the team. That was a year they didn't make it to the playoffs. It was a late December, early January, right after the regular season, he signs a big contract. If he wanted to push his way to the Raiders then, he could have. He took the offer. He took the sure thing. It's one thing to take the sure thing when there isn't another sure thing. When you have two sure things to choose from, you can say no thank you to the Packers. And the other thing, too, the Packers structure. They only guarantee money in the first year of the deal. There's no fully guaranteed money beyond year one. That is a flaw in their way of doing business. So it's not truly apples to apples. And the Packers offer was too little, too late. Well, it wasn't too little. It was too late, because the Raiders were on the scene with a much better offer. So Hey, Sims and I talked about this the other day as it relates to Rodgers. I think the Packers did a great job of keeping Aaron Rodgers from realizing that they were going to let Davante Adams leave until Rodgers made it clear that he wasn't. Because Rodgers said himself he didn't know that Davante was leaving at the time he decided to stay, and you'll wonder if he makes a different decision if he knows Davante Adams is leaving.
Well, he very well could have, Mike, because he's going to miss Davante Adams. There is no question about that. When you look at the 123 catches, 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns last season, I mean, this was a great receiver. And I've talked a lot about the Tyreek Hill deal. I think that has a chance to be a lose-lose rather than as the Vikings did in trading Stephon Diggs. That was truly a win-win deal when they ended up with Justin Jefferson. I think the Tyreek Hill deal could be a lose-lose because I think Tyreek Hill is going to miss Patrick Mahomes. Now, maybe he gets Tom Brady next year and it works out. But for this year, I think it could be a lose-lose because I think he's really going to miss Patrick Mahomes. And I think that the Chiefs are going to miss Tyreek Hill. On this deal, Mike, I think the Packers are going to miss Davante Adams more than Davante Adams is going to miss the Packers. I still think he's going to get his catches. Maybe he doesn't quite have 1,500 yards, but I think he's really still going to do great things with Derek Carr, even though Derek Carr is not Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think anybody would argue that he is. But I think he still will have really good numbers with the Raiders. But I think the Packers truly are going to miss Davante Adams. If they had Davante Adams, wouldn't we be talking about the Packers along with the Rams and the Bucks? Right now, we're kind of saying, well, maybe it's the Packers. Maybe some of these receivers develop. We don't know. So if they had Davante Adams, I think I would put them right there alongside the Rams and the Bucks as a contender, and they don't have him now.
There's still people out there who insist that the Packers will be fine without Davante Adams.
And maybe they will.
Maybe they will, but that really downplays the significance of having the kind of receiver that you have to game plan against as a defense. You know, it's kind of the same narrative the Chiefs are using. We're going to spread the ball around more. Well, of course you will, because you've lost your number one receiver, and the difference is you don't have a guy that's going to strike fear in the hearts of the defense. It's going to force the coverage to be shifted toward him and open everything up for the other guys. It puts more pressure on the quarterback to spot the open man than if you know in a situation from the pre-snap look that Davante Adams or Tyreek Hill is going to be double covered and is going to open something up on the other side of the field where you know someone's going to be in single coverage and they shake their guy at the line of scrimmage and they're open, and that's that because they're only being covered by one man. It's that simple. It's going to be a challenge for the Packers, just like it's going to be a challenge for the Chiefs.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.